Welcome to episode 18 of Mina Narrates. I'm your host, Mina. Thanks for joining me in my library. This episode features part 8 of There's a Killer in My Town by Callie Blackmoore, aka Beautiful Nightmare. This is the 9th part of an 11-part series I am honored to be allowed to present to you. This series is planned to be released every Wednesday at 5:45 p.m. Central, 6:45 p.m. Eastern, via YouTube Premiere through October to December 2nd, which means we're coming down to the final stretch. Yet there's still some things coming. Come join in the discussion as the video is watched for the very first time. Before we begin, please remember to like the video, leave a comment, share the video out, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell if you haven't already, so you're notified when I release new videos. You don't want to miss any of this series. Now, let me whisper in your ears. My name is Callie Turner. I am the wife of David Turner and the mother of Damian Turner. I was adopted at the age of 3 because my mother decided that it was the best decision for everyone involved. My mother hadn't realized that what she was doing would actually save not only my life, but hers as well. I was 5 years old when my mother had gotten married. Her husband knew about the things that I didn't, yet he loved me just as much as she had, so he decided to adopt me as his own daughter. I am thankful that my parents were the kindest people in Haven Valley. They had given me the best life possible. My mother was the sister of the infamous Snow Creek killer, Dean Randall. She was the only thing that protected me from the heinous crimes that took place when I was 10 years old. I didn't have to know one thing about those murders happening at the time. The only thing I knew was that my brother hadn't been around to see me in quite some time. My brother would bring me presents anytime he would come in the neighborhood. He would tell me that I was such an important person in his life that he had to bring me something special. I guess it was his way of being involved in my life, considering the fact that he and my mother were lying to me about who I was. I was completely devastated when my mom told me that my brother would probably never be able to see me again. Yet she wouldn't tell me the reason until my 16th birthday. My birthday was a special day for me. My family and friends were all there, but it wasn't all that great without my brother being there. I was handed individual letters, all addressed to me. It didn't take me very long to read them, but it did take me 4.5 hours to reread them and let the news sink in. Once the letters had been opened and read, my parents sat down with me and told me the truth about everything. My brother was actually my father, and my mother was his sister. My dad and his high school girlfriend had me when they were 15 years old. My real mom died while giving birth to me. My dad had attempted to take care of me, but I guess he didn't have the paternal instincts necessary. So my mom, even though she was a few years younger than him, had taken it upon herself to raise me. They decided it would be better for both of them if my mom moved to Haven Valley while he went to college. She was the one who told him that the best thing he could do for me was to lie and say he was my older brother upon finding out that he had met his soulmate. Marcus was like an older stepbrother to me. I had only been around him a few times in my entire life, but those were the happiest memories that I had with my dad. Now, growing up with the knowledge that my father had a mental illness and murdered over 6 people made me want to become a better person. I went to college to study psychiatry as a way to further understand how my dad could do such heinous things. That was when my professor, Dr. Hollingsworth, told my class about the diagnosis he had given Dean Randall: dissociative identity disorder, split personality. I became the center of attention when my professor figured out who I actually was. He announced the truth about me to my entire class, which resulted in the entire campus knowing by the end of the dreadful day. It wasn't long after the truth came out that I met my now husband, David Turner. He wasn't the least bit concerned about my family history once he had taken the time to get to know me. He knew that it might eventually catch up with him, but it never did. He proposed to me on the day of his graduation. We quickly got married because my mom was married, and then I found out I was pregnant. We were absolutely happy to know that we would both be parents. However, I was worried about my genetics and how that could come into play once my son got older. I did go to see my dad as a psychiatrist once, and I doubt that he even recognized me. I later went on to request seeing him as his daughter, but he turned me away each time and refused to meet my husband and son. I did feel bad about never getting the chance to introduce my family to him, but it was better off that way. My son Damien is now 17 years old and an absolute genius. So far there is no signs of any mental illness, but then again, my father hadn't displayed many signs until he was in his 20s. I guess only time will tell about my son. I think knowing the truth about my dad helped me become the person I am today. I'm thankful to have learned the truth, no matter how many times it affected my life when I was in school. My father may be a mentally ill serial killer, but I do love him more than he might ever know. I'm just sorry that he wasn't able to hear that before he passed away. I guess knowing that he was sick really took a toll on him after 19 years of being locked away in a ward for the criminally insane because he took his own life. I still have those letters that he wrote me. I just wish I'd had the opportunity to tell him that he did protect me from himself, even if he didn't realize it. Thank you for listening to Part 8 of There's a Killer in My Town by Beautiful Nightmare. For this reading, I'm using the paperback version of the book published on the 20th of July, 2020. If you want to get your own, there's a link in the description. While there, you can get her just published book of short stories. I'll have the link for you to choose the paperback or Kindle version in the description. You can follow her on Amazon or on one of her Twitter accounts. Both are linked in the description as well. Now we hear more about who Callie is and her relationship with Dean. Callie sounds like a responsible and strong woman who has overcome the adversity of being Dean's daughter to the point that she's grateful for it and the opportunity it has made in her life. Dean has a grandson he'd never met before he died, who is now 17 years old. So we're 21 years after Dean was caught and found guilty of the Snow Creek murders. How do you think you would feel as Callie finding out not only was your brother your father, but he was also the Snow Creek killer and had dissociative identity disorder, or DID? Guess what? The story isn't quite over for this book yet. Can you guess who we'll hear from next and what they will say? I'm not giving any spoilers. If you've read the book, please do the same. Let me know what you think in the comments. While you're down there, please give the video a like and share it out. If you aren't subscribed, consider subscribing and ringing the bell so it rings, so you don't miss the next part. I want to say thank you to all of you who have subscribed. I appreciate your faith in me and enjoyment of my content. Thank you to everyone who has been so welcoming, supportive, and helpful. I couldn't do this without you. Until we meet again, have a wonderful day or night, and be safe.